All right, we're live.
Awesome. I have been dying, absolutely dying to talk about this since it dropped. This episode has been unreal.
Yeah, it was a hard one. Like, so I know people are probably. I felt kind of bad for people Tuesday night because I was I got on there and I was just tongue tied and twisted because I was all in my emotions. I'm
Yeah.
still having I still can't believe it. I mean, how things go, and also everyone, real quick, full spoiler warnings. Like everything's fair game. Like I still couldn't believe it. I was like, what just happened? And then it was funny is because we had a friend over. My wife had a friend over, and I had a buddy over. That's been over. He's been over here every Tuesday, and Molly's friend had just like we powered through the first 4 episodes so she could be caught up and ready to go because she likes Star Wars, and we were all just sat there like when it happened.
Yeah.
We gave ourselves like 15 minutes before we had to go on live, and usually like we have this banter or discussing things, and we all just sat there and we're like, what? What?
Yeah.
So
What
let's see
happened?
who we got with us so far. We got RFB here. The HoloNet channel transmission is being monitored by the Galactic Empire. Better watch out. All right. I got my here. I'm good. Woo! So
Yeah, Jimmy's
and
covered.
Anthony's here. Hey Anthony.
Hello there, Anthony.
So and Ed Friday says, oh my god. So Jack. People heard me. Dad Vader says hello there on Instagram. The Water Boy says cool way to go, which is what he always says for some reason. He's not very clever. Come up with something new, Danny. But thanks for joining us. Clan Brandon Lorian's on the Instagram. So
Brando.
everyone's heard me. Yeah, hang on. We'll get to Ed in a second here. Jack, let's go. You woke up?
Well, I've had to watch it a good 3 or 4 times now. I just can't get over it, if I'm honest. And the only thing that I'm disappointed about is the very opening scene where she wakes up in that crater with the dead Jedi. I just wished to see what had made that crater.
Oh yeah.
I mean, God, that Khmer is easily one of my favorite Sith already. The way he's just his arrogance, his confidence, his saber skills, and just when he turns Zeki into a shish kebab, it deals with you quite effectively. And the rest of the other Jedi, they didn't really stand a chance, if I'm honest.
I mean, Mank says Basil will be the Sith Master. Yeah, I think that's a pretty funny one. Brandon's on with YouTube, and Ed says you called it, Jimmy. You talking about the lightsaber or Chimera or both?
Probably both, mate. Jimmy was on point with his predictions.
So I mean, I'm not going to take a whole lot of credit for the Chimera thing. That was pretty obvious. The only reason I thought maybe it wasn't him was because it was too obvious. But
yeah, I got it completely wrong. I was calling it Biff, Tenebrous.
I think we're headed that way. Dad Vader says the brutality of the kills next level. Yeah, this is some like Mortal Kombat style. It's because this show is kind of Disney-esque, right? I mean, that's some of the complaints about people had. And then it's just like in this episode, flipped the switch and it turned into what I think we all thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy moly. So.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think this about every episode that I watch as well is if you started watching this from this episode, it'd still fit in. So you could run this series so far, I think, in any order, like episode 3, 2, 1, 4, 5, or 5, 2, whatever. Mm-hmm. It all sort of falls in line with each other to a degree, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, 1 and 2, some of the stuff there. Poptographers are joining us. Hey, howdy.
But you imagine if they started off with episode 5, that this had really set the tone of the series. But then, you've got the ultimate fight scene with Carrie-Anne Moss in episode 1 as well. So I just sort of do wish they started off with this, and I not wish actually. I'm more curious to see what sort of feedback and backlash they would have got if they'd started with this episode. You know what I mean?
Do you think that part of the problem is they suffered from Maul's double-bladed lightsaber, the way that the Phantom Menace they exposed that and took away like they just kept showing us more and more. And before we even saw the first 2 episodes, we had seen the 2 big fight scenes. If we hadn't seen a smidge of that, like if we just seen a little bit, maybe back with a push or something, I think that those first 2 episodes would have been more.
Yeah, I think so. I totally agree, mate.
It felt like it took a little bit away. I mean, I still loved them and I rewatched them, but I think that it suffers a little bit. But I think that's why, like you and I said after episode 4, was that no one knew what was coming really. We knew there was a fight and things like that. So everything we see is like, whoa, it's kind of blowing us away.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah, I think they've previewed a bit too much to a degree. But also what's interesting is you mentioned about the Darth Maul thing. I think now we've got a good top 5 of fight scenes in movies and live action. Not going to include the animated stuff because that's even here and there, but like with let's say real people to a degree. I seen something earlier where it ranks the best lightsaber battle in the whole Star Wars thing is Darth Maul. Someone had put this one as first instead. Then you've got Revenge of the Sith.
I think we should do a show about that.
So I think we're going to talk about the fight scenes in all Star Wars live action movies. So it'd be interesting to see everyone's comments on what they think the best fight scene is in Star Wars that they've seen, whether it's this and the Acolyte, Phantom Menace, something worth talking about. But yeah, overall, I really enjoyed the episode. I thought the fight was absolutely amazing. Jackie's fighting skills were incredible. I thought she was very fast.
Something that's getting lost on is the more you watch it, like I think I've seen it 3 times now. She does a lot of little things, and she had him on the ropes.
Yes.
A lot of jumping off stuff, a lot of cool choreography. And yeah, I think that's being lost a little bit because she got shish kebabbed. But
yeah.
Let's see real quick here. Jason M. Wild says Soul hung with him, talking about, I mean, he's the only one who survived and had him. He had him beat until OSHA showed up and screwed everything up.
Yeah.
The Dad Vader says, question here. The fandom is very heavily split and hate flows. What conversation, if any, are y'all having with fans who have slammed the door on this? Oh, that's a good one. Jack and I have both each talked to a bunch of people who haven't liked it. And I think the people who are done with it are done with it. Some of these people didn't even give it a chance. Some people legitimately don't like it. I do think, and I think I've talked to 1 or 2 people on our Facebook page that they really like this episode. They haven't been fans of everything else, but I think Dad Vader, like, that's a good question. Like, I think some of it, I mean, if you were on our live stream on Tuesday, we had someone hop on just out of his mind calling us every name in the book because we enjoyed the show, and I'm not sure they even watched it. They're just here to like rip us apart. So, but yeah, Jason says haters gonna hate. They hated it before it even started. More political thing than anything. Yeah, I think so, Jason. I haven't seen an agenda yet. Maybe it's coming.
I think people need to put politics aside and just look at it for what it is. It's Star Wars at the end of the day.
Yeah. Oh, I agree.
There's enough Star Wars for everyone. Like I always keep saying, love what you love, respect what you don't. That's the way.
Yeah.
It's the best way to be about it. And like you said, Jimmy, we've got people on our Facebook, Instagram that we talk to, on our group chats, on the pages. There's people that don't like it. There's people that absolutely couldn't stand the Acolyte. They come back on Facebook and go, well, that episode was absolutely amazing because of this, and this. However, I still got a bugbear about this, and this. I've got the time of day for anyone that's constructive with their criticism.
Yeah,
not just slamming it. You're not just slamming it. And there's a lot of things that people have done behind the scenes, the actors, all that. There's a lot of work that goes into all this sort of things. You've got to appreciate that as well. At the same time, I appreciate that people aren't going to love something that I love as well. Well, that's totally okay. Mm-hmm. I love having the chats with people that don't love it. It's always an interesting topic, and I think it's a topic that we should discuss in the future. Is how do you make someone a Star Wars fan? That's what I'm gonna suggest or bring up to people. I'm going to get someone that's not a massive Star Wars fan. I've got someone, actually, one of my best mates, can't stand Star Wars. He's not really watched much, if anything. I'm going to bring him on the show, and I'm going to try and convert him within an hour.
Nice. Well, show him this episode.
Yeah, well, this is the thing.
Know what's going on to see what's going on, but let's see. And it gives me a question too, and it was kind of funny because TR just hopped on. Hi, TR, how are you? See you in a couple days. When I go to Rebel Scum Con this weekend, I think that's going to be my topic to people.
Yeah.
How you feeling about the Acolyte? I'm sure it probably won't be the most peaceful conversations with some folks, but
you need it on your shirt.
See if I can, just put on a shirt and be like, I love the Acolyte.
Change my mind.
Change my mind kind of thing. But Kurt, JW says a lot of people are just impatient. They don't want to let the story play out. We've been spoiled by binging. Yeah, Kurt, we talked about that a ton. You and I have talked about it. I talked about it with Brandon. I talked about it with Mike on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Dad Vader, how about the overall rating currently for me? I'm at 6.8 out of 10. Yeah, I might get 7 out of 10, I think, so far.
As a series as a whole.
What's up? Can't wait. Dad Vader says, "You'll be." Oh, Dad Vader, you'll be at RSC too. Sweet. I'll message you. Very nice. Very cool. Very cool. The Waterboy agrees with 6.8, and I can tell you, Waterboy messaged me right after the first two and was like, "This isn't very good." Like, he didn't like the dialogue. He didn't like and he's not I think he's a jerk most of the time, but in all fairness, he's not someone who just spews hate. And he's like, I didn't really care for it, but he's kind of coming around a little bit, it looks like. We've got a ton of people. All right, what's Ed Friday say? Camaro, hello there. Yeah, no kidding, right? His flip-flopping between Psychopath and Back to Chimere was
incredible.
Jason from The Good Place is scary as hell. Who knew? So if you haven't watched The Good Place, folks, this is the only place I know that Manny Jacinto has been in so far. I'm sure he's playing Little Rules, but he's a main character in the show, and he plays this monk. I don't want to give anything away, but he's hilarious. He's pretty much the comic. I mean, it's a comedy, but it's a really good show, and it has a really good point to it. What's Anthony saying? Unfortunately, there's always going to be backlash where Star Wars is concerned. Yeah. I think that there's always going to be backlash everywhere. Just the world we live in. Chimera was an absolute savage. Poptography says definitely ranks up there in lights rules.
100%.
I think you're right. We need to go and we need to have
rank them up. We're gonna rank them.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Hey, hit that like button if you're watching. Appreciate it. Thanks, Andrew.
Cheers, Andrew.
Fans have to accept that with much varied content, you're not going to be pleased with people all the time. Yeah, Mank, I think you're right.
100%.
So what else we got?
This what Anthony said is absolutely crazy. Some of these comments. So he's saying there, I've heard some complaints that Jackie shouldn't have been able to stand her ground as well as she against a Sith Lord. I don't agree. I thought she was badass. Basically, she's gone. I'm exactly the same as you, Anthony. I don't agree at all. We don't even know he's the Sith Lord for a start. And let's not forget,
I still don't think
Chimera up to that point, mate, had taken on. It was about 7 or 8 of them. I think he's fought a lot of them. He's probably tired.
There's 8 total.
Yeah. And I think she was the third from the last to get killed. So he's obviously tired. So why would she not, stand a chance?
And he was bouncing back and forth between Soul, Yord, R.I.P., and then Jecki, and then dealing with May and Osha. I also think, though, I think they kind of tried to show us a couple times because 2 of the scenes we've seen of Jecki were her using her practice saber in Coruscant. And if you watch closely in the second one, she was a little bit better than everybody in front of her. I don't know if that was on purpose or not, but I think, why can't she be like, I mean, they all excel at something. Maybe battle was her. That's what she was good at right off the bat. So we over here on Instagram, Crafting Island says, "Go Jaguars." I'm hoping you're not talking about the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Oh, no. Not Trevor Lawrence. Surely not.
Jason Wild says 7.5 out of 10. Depending on the next episodes, can definitely go to 8. Yeah, I think, the show has definitely gone up. Jecki fighting Chimere equals Obi-Wan fighting Maul. That's good.
These are good comments.
Yeah, roll 2. Dad Vader, roll a 2. So who trained him and who's doing the Vader move train his apprentice to overthrow his master? Yeah, I think you're right. So he's training the girls, or once one of the girls, so that he can
have an apprentice,
overthrow his master. So their master is there. I think that it was obvious that it was Chimera, but I also think that it's not obvious who. I just think at the very end of this, they're going to kill somebody, and off in the shadows, we're going to see a Bith or a Mun just kind of sneak back into the shadows and disappear. Like that's all you would need. Imagine that. Imagine lights down for Nestor Soul, they battling it out with them. That all three of them, take each other out so no one ever knows. And then Bith is just hiding there and it kind of slips into the shadows and disappears.
That'd be class.
And that's all you got to do. Let's see. Obi-Wan is still a Padawan. Yep. Isn't Chimera an apprentice? See, that's the confusion too, is he's like, you would call me Sith. And he's like, I have no name. So we really don't know about him yet, which is good storytelling because we're just learning. We think he's the bad guy, and I think that's what they want us to think. Oh, go Jaguars. Oh my God. Tiara, you're right. I'm an idiot. Thank you. I know what she's talking about now. Manti Jacinto's characters from Florida. Okay. He always says, go Jaguars. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's been a long time. That's a good shout. Man, you got me on that one. Or is it Jason says, or is this a Knights of Ren origin story? Could be.
And nice little Easter egg at the end with the Kylo Ren music, or the First Order music, wasn't
it? Dad Vader says, so you stole a script. I did not steal anything. I'm just contemplating what I think might work. Let's see. You got a bunch more here. Also didn't expect to love Yord as much as it did in the end. Yeah, I tell you what, I didn't like him, but when he came in there all boss and like, I'm going to mess this fool up, I was like, all right, buddy, like you have it in you.
Yeah, so I was a bit disappointed with him.
What's that?
I was a bit disappointed with Yord. I'd have liked to see a bit more fight off him.
Yeah, I think he was a coward though. I think he showed multiple times that he let fear roll him, and
he was like a cowardly Mace Windu.
Yeah. Samuel Allen says, hi guys, I'm worried about at first with the way prequel backlash before it took time to gain praise from the fans. They've done well so far. Yeah, you're right, Samuel. Honestly enjoyed the action, but felt the story was lackluster and not executed right.
Yeah, I can see where he's coming from. I spoke to a lot of people.
Yeah, there's been a lot of people saying that as well, Andrew, that maybe we're being blinded by the fighting, like maybe that storyline. But
this what happens with the flashbacks, isn't it? When he goes back and forward, back and forward.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think we kind of have to wait until it's all done, and then we'll do a live show, and you guys can all. I'll be really curious, and when it's all over, everyone joins us, and we can talk about it and see where we stand and how many holes are plugged, and how many holes are still there. But just like talking about Star Wars, great stream. Thanks, Andrew.
Cheers,
appreciate it. Glad you could join us. I don't think you're wrong. Some of the writing is a bit daft for me. I think it's not as strong as I would have hoped, but it's still pretty good. I think we'll see. We'll get there. Pop Talk Free back in the Caravan of Courage and Ewok Adventures didn't get the hate that the new Disney Plus shows get. The Acolyte is excellent, in my opinion. Yeah. Oh my gosh, Caravan of Courage. Man, I still haven't been able to bring myself to watch those on Disney Plus. I think they're both on there.
I haven't.
But so maybe we'll do a watch along and we can watch Caravan of Courage and the other one together. That'll be fun. So we got this is a great point, but we know Obi-Wan was right at the cusp of night. I think Jackie was a bit young. Yeah, I think you're right. I just think she was a good duelist. She was able to pick up a double sword, a double blade.
Anakin did it as well, though, in the Attack of the Clones, and he also did it in Revenge of the Sith. And that was against Count Dooku, whose equal was only Yoda in lightsaber.
I think too. Yeah, I think you're right, Jack. I think too, though, like part of this is like the Jedi haven't had much to do since the Nihil, if we're reading things right. So they've kind of gotten complacent. Like you can sit there and you can, like if you're taking karate lessons, and you go in there and you sparring and stuff like that, like you're gonna, you'll be quick and stuff. You're gonna go out and street fight a gang member or something, like you're not gonna be quite as sharp unless you're out there doing it every weekend, So I do think maybe she just had some more potential. But yeah, I mean, Andrew, you could go either way with it. I can see, and but yeah, that's a good point. Nothing says Jackie isn't similar though. Yeah, who knows? Has been 6 years, right, since Osha left, so maybe she was close. Yeah, they went full saber flick on yours.
They did make him a fool.
Flash flip, sorry, yeah. Let me see what else we got. Yes, can't wait for the conclusion. What's Anthony got for us? I know it's not popular opinion, but I actually think a Sith Moon would look ace and not look as ridiculous you think. Some of the Darth Jar Jar fan art is great. Yeah, I'm down for it. I think as long as they don't ruin the big long skull, like they did for the Grand Inquisitor, I think they need to go all in. But I think they've learned their lesson. Maybe
I think they'll go with the Biff of Tenebrous.
Would be easier, probably, right?
Yeah, I think so, mate.
We should ask Dawn and them, like, what would be easier to build. Maybe I'll ask her. They all work at Legacy Effects. They do a lot of stuff for Star Wars. She's in the upcoming Skeleton Crew, so maybe we can reach out to them and see what she thinks. So she is an expert, a cowardly Mace Windu. Yeah, he's like, I need courage. He's like the cowardly lion.
His principles are there, but
yeah, he just every time we saw him, he was going for his blade. He was so eager to get out of there. Like, I feel like most Jedi that we've seen would have been like, you go that way. I'm going to stay here and fight. It would have been most hiding behind his orders. I've been given orders. Ed Friday. Sorry, one of the Jedi Masters will be a bad egg for sure.
Well, I was expecting to see Vanessa Rowe in this one because of the trailer, but maybe she'll be in this next one because I think she'll go there to see where's all the Jedi gone.
Yeah.
Perhaps. And I think she'll be fighting off a load of those cockroach moth things.
Yeah, I think so. Because I feel like there was a scene that we saw where those things were like lit up. Like they almost looked like lightning bugs. But I could be wrong. It could have been just them slicing in half. Yeah, there you go. No one watches RD. Technically, Luke was a Padawan when he faced Vader. That, sir, is an excellent point, or ma'am. I don't know. But that's actually a fair point.
Yeah,
fair point. I mean, he barely had training, but nobody calls him Mary Sue.
Would you say that Vader took it easy on him because he knew he was his son?
Yeah, I always thought about this way.
Chopped his hand off.
Imagine like you're Vader, right? And it's been 20 years since Obi-Wan kicked your butt on Mustafar and took your saber, and all of a sudden you're about to face this kid that you're pretty sure is your son, or at least you know he's your son, and all of a sudden he whips out your lightsaber. You're gonna be like, "What the beep?"
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like what his feelings are when he sees that saber. Always curious about like the insights of like what's Vader going, because he's an emotional fool. That's part of the reason he got himself into trouble. But
yeah,
what we got here.
This is a great point.
Yoda says only when you confront Vader, a Jedi will you be. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, man, awesome, very good. Those are excellent points. I hadn't even thought about that yet. Sometimes it's hard to connect all these different groups, but that's excellent.
That's the thing. This is the thing now with Star Wars, where we're at, we can, because there's so much of it out there.
Yeah, I love that. Let's look over here at Instagram, where I left off. I thought the helmet grab leap was going to be his I can be your hero moment. Yeah, I was right there with you. That's what I meant. Like, he's like, oh, he's the boss. And then he just gets
yeah.
Just odd they used Kylo's music then. Yeah, Jason, I think, we haven't talked about that. When we did the live show right afterwards, we hadn't even had time. I was still
at the end there.
Yeah, so what do you think that means, Jack?
I don't know. It could be potentially a nod to the Ren stuff, but then that's the Knights of Ren stuff then to not get mentioned all the way through the prequels and the originals. Yes, it's a big galaxy though, but it's an interesting one.
His eyes aren't red or yellow, so he's not a Sith. That's one thing no one said anything about, which it doesn't fit into some people's narrative because they want to yell and scream about everything, but his eyes, like Kylo Ren, are not turned. So maybe this is the beginning of the Rens.
Potentially, and he has killed a Jedi without using a lightsaber.
Yeah, he did. He did do that.
AK
what we got over here? Jason, dialogue can be awkward and forced. Yeah, a little bit similar to episodes 1, 2, 3, which I don't understand because I feel like it could flow a little bit better. Some of the exposition and stuff like that. Chimera's Cortosis helmet is all damaged. You can tell he's used it a ton in battles. Yeah, that's a good point. It is all beat up and sliced up. He walks the Battle of Endor, Dad Vader says. Cortosis is a weak metal too, but definitely battle worn. Excuse me, Obi-Wan got lucky. I slipped a little as I jumped. Okay. Either were Dooku's. Duke's wasn't either. So I don't know what that's necessarily talking about, but yeah, there's so much. Let me see where we at. Where did we leave off?
We've got loads of comments coming through on the YouTubes, mate.
Yeah, sorry. It's hard to do both of these.
Oh, I bet it's mental. Yeah.
Oh, his eyes. Yes, thanks, Jason. He's meant his eyes. Like, yeah, Dooku's eyes never turned.
That's true. That is true. But the one we was up to just was, again, Nowhere watches the. He's thinking Sol and Chimera are brothers. I think there's a connection there between them both, definitely.
And Sol and Chimera are brothers. That would be a sick twist, wouldn't it? Like,
yeah,
if they were raised in the same place, or they were brothers.
Or as his apprentice.
Or end up joining the dark side. Jackie days that attachment was a pathway to the dark side in the first or second episode. Yeah, because she walks in, and he's holding that hologram, and she's like, she's real robotic. Like, oh man, I want more Jackie, man. She's so snarky. She's almost like she's just
good about it.
Cusp of being like an Ahsoka type character. Maybe not ever get to the level of Ahsoka, but like just her snark. And just the fact that I just think it's a bunch. She's a cool design, cool kid.
Yeah. Like you said there, the design behind the character, the makeup, the costume was amazing.
Soul is definitely acting in anger.
Oh, 100%. You could see that. He sort of tapered on towards the dark side a few times, I think, so far in this.
Pop Topper says, so do you think Soul could be the estranged older brother of Chimera? The line, you don't remember me, has to be more than... Yeah, because he's like, I sensed something familiar. I kind of wondered that too. Like, if something else is going on with Soul. But he said, how old was he? He was younger than the twins. He said he was 4. Did he give an age?
But what if as well, Chimera was one of the Jedi that accompanied them to get May and Osha? What if Chimera was a Jedi, mate, and it was him that started the fire?
Well, but he would have recognized him when they were in that shop together. That makes sense. Like when he would have seen him in episode 2, would have been like, yo, what the, and it would have gone on like Donkey Kong right there.
Yeah, they've got a great plot twist going with it.
Yeah, I think there's a lot more to it. So many bad butts in this episode. Yeah. I was so confused the first time he used his head to knock out the saber. I was like, what? But that was awesome. Awesome fighting. I heard Chris says it was trending on Google.
Yeah, it is. It's gone big time.
The show's number one problem is the runtime. 8 1-hour episodes would have allowed for extended. Yeah, man. I think because that was my big complaint on Tuesday night after we watched it was like 4 and 5 should have been one episode. It should have just rolled right into it. Then that slow start of episode 4, it could be forgiven as it just dives into it. Yeah, I don't know why they can't. I caught up on House of the Dragons season 1. I had to watch a couple episodes, and then I'm up to date on the second 2. And in House of Dragons, they talk about it, but it's just a lot of dialogue. A lot of it, there's not a ton of action.
Yeah, we're watching that at the minute. Yesterday it was just all action, all talk, wasn't it?
Yeah, this episode 2 was like all talk, except for I don't want to give anything away if people haven't watched it, but there's like one smallish fight scene in it, I think, towards the end. But
I think there's a lot of lessons they could learn.
Yeah, I think you're right though, Mank. I think that a 1 hour episode. I want to get to something that Dad Vader said here in a second in Instagram, but give me a second. Dad Vader will be there, and I'd like to discuss this with you down there in Texas. Chimera wasn't chosen to go with his brother. Oh yeah, it could almost be like in the Living Force when they left I don't want to get into that either, but there's something similar to that too, where they leave somebody.
Yeah, there's a lot of people going around.
Sifo Dyas kind of jacks some things up.
Yeah.
True, the runtime makes for some awkward pacing. Yeah, the pacing has been a little bit weird. Slow things down. Give us 45-minute episodes. I think you could do it in that.
Yeah.
Not too much filler. Keep it moving. I thought, I don't know.
Very stop-start.
Yep. Kurt W says they haven't revealed the last name of any of the Brunduk Jedi or Chimera, but Jeki, Yord, etc. have last names. What do you make of that? That's a valid point, because I mean, Master Kenobi, Master Windu. Yeah, I wonder. Maybe it's like not as formal because things have been so chill.
Yeah, I think they might have overlooked that.
Republic.
I think they might have overlooked that.
That's a good point. I wonder if that comes back around. Soul spoke about when he left his family, and unless mistaken, he mentioned a brother. Oh yeah.
I have to watch all these episodes back.
Yeah. Both actors are Asian. Yeah. This woke media that we have. Anybody who says anything about that, those two are killing it. Manti Jacinto and we're going to call him JJ because I always mess up his name. Those dudes are killing it as far as the
Yeah, they are.
Yanni going from, and even when he takes off that helmet, he's creepy in the helmet. And then whenever he takes it off and he's able to flip back and forth between the two characters, kind of. Dude, that was nuts.
He's even worse creepy, isn't he?
Yeah. Jason Wilde says best two actors in the series.
Yeah, I totally agree.
All about siblings. I think you're right. Maybe it's more about siblings than we realize. That would be crazy. So was Chimera's target all along. The twins are a bit to draw him out. Oh yeah, that would make sense to me. The budget of the episode should be longer, at least 45. Yeah, I think you're right.
180 million.
And then so Dad Vader says the Dooku, because we're going to kind of go back to like the eyes and things like that. And Dad Vader says the Dooku give himself truly or fully to the dark side. And I don't feel like he did.
No, like, splitting off.
Yeah, I feel like he was like 1 foot in, 1 foot out, because I think he had designs of way he wanted things to do. He really did want to bring peace to the galaxy. And you can see that a little bit in the Tales of the Jedi. Yes, thank you. When he has to go after Yaddle. I just rewatched those.
Yeah, definitely rewatch those.
Let's see. Plans back. Hey, level up Leroy. If you guys haven't watched this week's show,
Leroy,
he's just on our show, the DJ of the Galaxy, right there, folks. Give him a look up and listen to that episode. You have some cool things to say about celebrations, and hopefully we'll see him in Japan. Hopefully. And then Jason says, best two actors in the entire series. I love seeing the infallibility of the Jedi, the political side, back in Coruscant, and then the soul in episode 5, using some anger in his fight. And that's an excellent point, Jason. I talked to my wife about this last night. Was people don't want to see behind the curtain.
No.
And I brought up the fact about Ahsoka from episode 5 of the Ahsoka show, young Ahsoka in the Clone Wars. You watch the animated series, it's no big deal, it's animated. You see a 13, 14-year-old girl in a battlefield with lightsabers. For whatever reason, and I don't know if it's because I'm a teacher or whatever, but if you have kids, I can't imagine that didn't bother you a little bit. But seeing it live action, I was like, ugh. And then I thought Chimeras, after Chimera kills Jeki, and he's like, is that its name? And Soul's like, she was a child. And then he goes, you brought her here. And I was like, dude,
cold as ice.
And that also shows, like, I mean, I was like, oh, people aren't going to like this because it makes the Jedi look bad, but that's what they did. They brought them along. And I mean, I don't think they expected it to turn into that, but you have to, you're not going to take your kid out on training maneuvers, are you, Jack?
Not anytime soon, no.
Like you could train them up, but you're like, well, you got to wait till you're 18, son. So Jason says, I'm a teacher too. I hope you're enjoying your summer, Jason. I like seeing the Jedi getting called out for the hypocrisy. I like seeing behind the curtain. I think that we've been given this, we've seen him in the Clone Wars, and then we see him in, the regular, we see this, Luke and them. We never see them like in this kind of time period, and just like to run something like this, you're going to have to step on some toes. To be taking people's kids, to be training kids for this kind of thing, and imagine what it would have been like during the Clone Wars when they were. If you're reading the Rise of the Red Blade, they talked about how they're just pulling kids out, sending people on missions that weren't ready. They were really throwing the kids to the wind. So
that leads in nicely. If you just look on the YouTube comments, Jimmy. So the next one, quickly talk about the No One Watches D. It starts by saying, "Are the Jedi involved part of a secret Jedi agency like the RBS, the Jedi Intelligence Agency, or something along those lines? They talk about keeping this from the High Council." So it sort of ties in with what you're saying. Maybe the council doesn't know certain things are going on. I mean, I mentioned it, I think last week or the week before, it was why have four, or was it four? Was it five? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 Jedi gone to one planet for 2 girls.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed, I mean, we know why, because they wanted to make it dramatic when you shish kebabs everybody. But yeah, it's a good point. Why do you need that many people? If Soul's a master, Yord's a Jedi Knight. And where's Yord's Padawan been? Tessie Loa? Where's she been? She's off. Did she go back and join all the Zygerian slavers or something?
Yeah.
Lord. I tried to explain what their species really did in the universe, and everyone was appalled by it. I was like, well, the universe is a bad place. But yeah, that's a good question. They talked about Jedi, like alternate groups and splinter cells and things like that. So
it makes sense with how Vanessa Rowe is as well, like taking them to one side because she doesn't want it all leak into because of the politics as well.
Yeah. Kurt says Palpatine's eyes weren't yellow until after his fight with Mace Windu. That's a good point. But he was trying to hide himself until the very end. So yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, RFB's got some, what's he mentioning there? LFL project runtimes were explained, why they are what they are, by Bryce D. Howard on Katie Sackhoff's first podcast episode. Even Mando or Acolyte, the work is still the same. Yeah.
That's that Katie Sackhoff has a one called Blah, Blah, Blah with Katie Sackhoff. Yeah. I watched most of that one. I might have to go back and review that. That's a good shout. I mean, technically, these are made for kids, but you can't tell me that episode 5 was made for kids because, Jack, you have a youngish daughter. Do you let her watch that?
I'll be honest. If she wanted to, I would. Yeah.
I think it would scare some of my nephews. Some of my nephews.
She'd be a bit taken aback by it.
Yeah, like it would be like, whoa, especially the neck thing.
Yeah.
Everything we hold dear depends on a certain point of view. Yeah, and I think it's what gets lost, man, on all of this is it's everyone's point of view. And again, on our show, folks, you don't have to like the Acolyte. You just can't be like calling us names like you were, the people were on Tuesday. I mean, you should have seen some of the stuff that was being, and I'm just like, whatever. Like, it was pathetic in my view. Like, no arguments, just calling me, because there was 3 dudes on there. You can imagine what he was saying about the 3 of us.
Awesome.
So, but 3 married guys, by the way, too, just so you know. So we're all keeping it on the DL. I think it's great to show the Jedi flaws, but the show portrays it reductively. Is it because, Andrew, it's the first time we're seeing so much of it? Like, they're just getting blasted. Like,
and she said as well, we'd be seeing it from a Sith's point of view. Remember that at Celebration?
Because over here somewhere, Jason M. Wild says some of it's really apparent in the High Republic books. Yeah, I'm talking about some of the hypocrisy and things like that behind the scenes.
Yeah,
that's a valid point. I'm almost done with the Temptation of the Force. Oh my gosh, it's so good. The old EU, there was a couple of species that feared the Jedi.
Yeah, and there still is outside of that as well.
Yeah. What is this event with which is his echoes of Waco, a secretary of religious comment taken out by governor? Wow, as a history teacher, man, I appreciate that one. Yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, Jedi seem to be like the governing body of the Force, realistically. We know that I'm not sure what Jedi looks like at this point, but we know in the High Republic there's 10, 15 different religions at minimum. Not all of them great, not all of them peaceful.
It's a big galaxy as well.
So
this is a really good point.
They wear different robes when they are investigating, and then change to traditional Jedi robes for field operations. Yeah, that's pretty. I like the wardrobe change. I mean, that's probably more about selling stuff. Like what's the?
Unless you're Kalnaka.
What's that?
Unless you're Kalnaka.
Oh yeah. Oh.
That's the only thing as well. I'd like to see more of Kalnaka. I know we're going to see some flashbacks.
Yeah.
But I'd like to see them battling. Come here. I've seen something as well where Jonas Mataru, who is the actor in the costume for Kalnaka, said that he had to sit in that position for something for like 4 hours.
While they were filming around him and stuff. All those fights.
That's crazy.
Yeah, imagine how sore you'd be. That's the thing too, is like one of the reasons I love Solo so much is with him inside that suit, he just mess and folds up. So you're gonna get to see that. And like you said, though, we will see, I hope, the flashbacks. We'll get to see Kalnaka. But it also is kind of, it could be precursor to seeing like Buryaga or some of them.
Yeah.
So Jason says good discussion. Peace, fellas. Good later, Jason. Thanks for joining us. Dad Vader says
Jason.
Different Hasbro figs now field ops and formal robes. Smart play, Hasbro. Yeah, for sure.
Great shout.
Well done. Now you're gonna need to have 2 Jeckies and 2 Yords and 2, that's a good shout. RFB says, if you like a reminder, Jimmy, I'd gladly hand up the KD verse link and DM. Yeah, that'd be great, man.
Drop it in the chats.
Yeah, drop it in the chat. That'd be awesome. We'd appreciate that, RFB. So,
but yeah, overall as an episode, again, it's definitely up there for me. I'll say about 8.5 pips out of 10. It's going to be interesting to see where Pip goes from this point as well, in terms of like, I think he's going to have a bit more of an effect with May and Asher as well. Another thing is, I saw someone saying that Master Sol isn't aware of the Switch. But what if Master Sol is aware of the Switch and he's also playing both sides? I think he knows that isn't the right twin that he's after. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I saw someone say that the other day too. Is like, what if he did realize it was her and it was like, yeah, come with me.
He knows.
So, plus the tattoo, that pointless, what we thought was a pointless discussion about the tattoo on her right arm. It's not going to be there.
Oh, she had it on her head, didn't she, as well?
Well, she has that thing on her head. May has the thing on her head. And Osha has the tattoo on her arm. So there's 2 things right there. I think with Pip, he's going to know it's not Osha.
100%.
As soon as he puts the head back on, which thank goodness Pip didn't eat it, because that would have been just too far, Disney. Too far. But he's going to need it, and I think that Basil, if he's not the Sith Lord working for Jar Jar Binks, then he's going to be able to sniff out that it's someone different, because that's, he's all about his sniffer. So what do we got here? I'm glad we're getting more Chimera moving forward. I hope that the pace doesn't slow down too much after that episode.
That's my biggest fear now, because that episode was so good. I think it is going to have to slow down a little bit to catch up back to the story that people are asking for that might be lacking, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, Anthony, I'm on my way to Texas right after this. We're done with this chat, and I've got about 4 hours left myself, so I'll be finishing it on my way down. I do usually like to read the last chapters, but I might just have to listen to our friend Mark Thompson narrate. So, okay, where would we go?
Yeah, Andrew is, but yes, yes, it's done as a horror/flick is an interesting, appropriate intersection. It was a lot of fun.
Yes, poptography. I know, like the second Vader comic was really good because it showed
It's
Palpatine. Like,
brutal.
yeah, it was brutal. It really was. Yeah, we saw that. Sorry, I'm trying to keep up here. I love all the comments,
So
folks.
we're on Wayne Smith. He's back from holiday.
Okay.
So he's put hi all Mr. Lot tonight.
Sitting down. Was he
Yeah.
too powerful for the Sith to kill in a fair fight?
Fair fight.
Yeah, maybe. That's what is curious is how he got him. Maybe he had befriended him.
Extra scene.
Yeah, maybe he befriended him. And then it's like he went out and visited him with him or something. And it's like, oh, you're back. And then slice.
Yeah. Maybe if you weren't maybe Sister Will. That's a good shout.
Yeah, I think because, man, I tell you what, Osha has some anger issues.
Oh, yeah.
As well.
Oh, yeah.
We talked about that dynamic with the girls and how, like, May is, like, ready to drop everything and be together. And Osha's still trying to arrest her at the end of all of it.
Let's see if it works, Jimmy.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. Hang on. I should get a bubble. Put some of my MacBook. Nope, not yet. This is thumbs up. Nope, not yet. Yeah, thanks, Andrew. You haven't given us a thumbs up. All right, smash that like button. Make sure you subscribe. You have the audio book and book form. Yeah, I do. I have a bunch of edits that I haven't used. So when I'm bouncing back and forth, I usually get both. If I can do that, I prefer the book, but with my schedule, sometimes it's the only time
easier
I get to
the audio. I was the same, mate, when I was driving back and forth from my military camp. But obviously, I'm not driving now, so audio books on a standstill at the minute. Wayne's got a good one here as well. He agrees with the comment earlier about the two Asian actors' best characters so far. Also, I spoke to Naomi as well. She mentioned how much she loved Quimir and was gutted about Jackie and you're dying. So everyone in the Cooper Smith household feeling the pain from that one.
Yeah.
But there, no one watches RD. Osha sees the Jedi differently now. Yeah, I think she does as well, to be honest. I think we might see another side of her.
Chimera tells her what's up, she's going to see it differently. So Dad Vader says he can read thoughts or sense thoughts. Do you mean Chimera or Soul? Because when he talked about that helmet, I thought about Magneto, X-Men.
Yeah, I thought that as well. I think he's on about Soul. That's why as well.
Right.
But yeah, I instantly had Magneto vibes when he's talking about his helmet.
Yeah, that was pretty sick. And then too, you see the Hasbro has it for sale.
Yeah,
Jack, you sent me the link.
Looks really
different.
Light bronze, light brown. Doesn't look dark. There's no voice changer in that one either. So when Kylo Ren's helmet came out, I've got it upstairs. That can movie accurate to a degree, but it also had the voice changer in there as well.
No one watches it. I also thought the sisters counterbalanced one another when they were close. Yeah, and it seems like, yeah, I mean, I think you're right. I think that they kind of balance each other. If one of them ends up dying or something, like I thought I saw something about a dyad in the Instagram chat, but another dyad possibly, and that was Jason. He's gone, but
yeah,
that was a good shout. When May's around Osha, she seems lighter and Osha seems darker. Yeah, it's for real.
Yin and yang.
Yeah, and it's weird though because like, you ever see that Will Smith and Charlize Theron's movie where they were superheroes, but when they were close to each other, like they lose all their full powers, they had to stay apart.
Yeah.
So kind of like that vibe where when they're except Osha seems to be finding herself again.
Yeah.
Oh, Soul to May. Yeah, possibly Dad Vader. Sorry, I'm having conversations with people on Instagram. Yeah, he says that he was talking about Soul to May, so yeah, maybe he can read her thoughts.
Oh yeah. Helen's getting in touch. She's struggling with how the Jedi are coming across as baddies. Do you mean you're struggling to see how they're coming across as baddies, or you're struggling that you're being shown Jedi are baddies? If it's the latter, I understand it. I think I'm glad we're seeing it from a different point of view as well, if I'm honest.
And I think, again, I've said this once already, but I don't necessarily think they're like the bad guys, but they're showing that to maintain the order that they're trying to maintain, you've got to do some things.
You got to
have some control. You've got to, and this is kind of shown that from, like you said, Jack, from a different point of view, from a Sith point of view. So it is hard to see, though, Helen. You're not wrong. It is definitely difficult to see.
Yeah. But I think that will come out in future episodes for sure. I think we're going to get to the turning point now where we do see the Jedi as bad people. I think that's the whole purpose in this episode. Where we've just lost all the Jedi now and we're like, oh, no, Yord, oh, no, Jackie. I think from the next episode onwards now, we're going to be like, good. I'm glad Kumir's winning.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I just can't ever see myself being like sympathetic to Chimera ever. Like,
I love the Sith.
Yeah, but they're not doing the right thing. I mean, you can love them; that could be cool, but in the real world, you're like, I'll take a Jedi any day. Do you think we'll see Coral again? How would she fit into the Sith hierarchy? Yeah, I don't know. That was like the 50-50 split for me. Before we saw who was underneath that helmet, I just did think that the arms looked too
big.
Because Manti Jacinto, he was jacked, man. Zhoosh. Want that workout program. Kingpin gave the Black Cat bad luck powers that affected Spider-Man. The ladder.
Yeah, that's what Helen was talking about.
Even the Jedi are afraid to lose their power.
You see it in all the High Republic books, don't we?
Dad Vader says Sith all day, so he's with you, Jack.
Yes, Dad Vader.
I never thought of it that way, taking your children, etc. Yeah, it's tough, man. Like, we sit there like, oh yeah, they took Ahsoka, and like the Togruta were like it was an honor. But then we saw some places, and we've even seen this in the animated series where people didn't want their children to be taken. Like it was like, oh, here come the Jedi, they're going to take our kids.
And the Sith started doing it as well.
Yeah, so like Great Hannah dictates Samuel in the Bible to better understand that story. All right, I can get down with that. We're actually doing a religion in Star Wars. I'm gonna write that down.
Yes, we are. Yeah, get that one down. That's a good point, that Andrew. Cheers for that. Yeah, just while Jimmy writes that down. Yeah, that's there's a lot of different views that we're seeing it from, and I'm excited. This is why I was excited at Celebration when Leslie Edlund was saying we're going to see it from the point of view of the Sith. I've always been a big fan of Siths. I think they're so cool. And I love the thinking where Quimera was saying that, he just wants to wield the Force how he wants to. I think that was amazing. Do you know what I mean? There's no restrictions. He just wants to live his life and do what he wants to do.
As long as he's not enslaving people, hurting people.
Yeah, I get that.
He should be allowed to do what he wants.
See, I don't think the Jedi allow that, though.
I think you're right. I think that they try to, and this takes me back to that we talked about after episode 3, the Reformation of the Force. Like, you go all the way back to 1500s. The Catholic Church does not want to give up its power. Now, not everyone in the church was corrupt, but a lot of people were, and they were doing everything they could to maintain that. And they knew that once that crack started, they wouldn't be able to hold on to it. So,
yeah.
I don't want to get too historical on everybody, but I mean, it's there.
It's definitely worth doing an episode.
I got a 3-page essay if anyone wants to read it, because I was so frustrated after episode 3 that I had to get it out.
Keep it, because we're gonna have to do an episode on it for sure.
Yeah, erase these events from the records. We must. Yeah, Yoda has done it in the High Republic already, from Phase 2 to Phase 3.
Yeah.
The story is pretty much about a Padawan. That story is pretty much about a Padawan. Okay, we'll get into that. What does he want to do?
No idea. Quimera wants to do whatever Quimera wants to do.
Yeah, that's the thing, I think.
Yeah, this is what we've just been saying. They want it for themselves. They want to hold all the power. Kurt's got a good point here. Quimera acting like he just wants freedom, but freedom to do what? It almost sounds like a Nihil mentality. Maybe he is from the Nihil as well.
The leftover. Although they hate Force users.
Yeah. The Jedi choose and control who uses the Force. It's a Jedi works no way. Yeah, no, it's a really good point.
And again, I understand why people are upset about seeing it this way. Like, it makes sense to me. Like, you're seeing our heroes. I don't think that they're doing it to be malicious. They're doing it to control something and to keep the Sith from growing back up. But if you're seeing it from this different point of view, from the people that are having their children taken away from them, from people who do say they want freedom or whatever, then yeah, it does make them look not the best. But I think, it's okay to see that. I mean, I still don't think it takes away from the Jedi. Like, I think the Jedi are doing what they need to do.
Yeah.
Something like that. So.
Yeah. The Nihil Wayne's from the High Republic books, mate. He probably obviously not read them. It's probably worth picking up a comic, mate, if I'm honest, and just having a quick read of what they are.
Yeah, you could read. Yeah, you could easily get into it.
Andrew, the Jedi aren't consciously villains, but are whistling manipulated by flaws. Yeah. Again, it's another episode we're going to be doing. We're talking about the Jedi and how they're their own worst enemy. These are loads of good points. We need to write all these down, Jimmy, at some point. We're going to have to come back to this one and go through the comments. But we are running out of time. We've got about 4 minutes left. But yeah, again, loads of good points. Is anything else you've got, Jimmy?
No, I think that I'm good.
It's always fun chatting to yourself, Jimmy, obviously, and all the explorers that are joining us. So again, just thank you to everyone, both on Instagram and YouTube, for joining us. It does make it so much more fun when everyone's joining. So many comments again. It's been quality. Now I love this. I could chat Star Wars forever, but I'd end up divorced. So I do have to go at some point tonight. But yeah, thank you so much, everyone's joining. Make sure you hit the like, share, subscribe button as well, please, on YouTube. It does help. Make sure you listen out on this week's episode with Leroy. Again, like Jimmy was saying, the guy's unbelievably talented, and he does actually give quite a few hints and tips how he started into new people trying to get into the music business with Star Wars, as well as another avenue to get in. And yeah, just for Jimmy, I hope you have the best time at the con this weekend. I know you're going to be meeting Ross Sandbridge, who was the body double for Snoke and also played the Wookiee in Solo. So Jimmy's going to go to the con. He's going to see all the stars. He's going to be looking after Ross Sandbridge, one of the actors from Star Wars: The Last Jedi and Solo as well.
Michael Smith says, by the way, have I said I'm loving it? Yes, you have, Wayne, and we're loving you. In the Cooper Smith family. Do we think the next episode will be the other side of that flashback?
I think so, Ant.
I think the next episode is going to kind of be the fallout from this, and then episode 7. Yes. And here's the only reason I think that is that Kogonada, the guy who directed it, episode 3 is directing episode 7. But that's pure speculation. Next week could definitely be the flashback, and I wouldn't be mad about it. I'm really curious to see what's going on, because I feel like it's going to shut a lot of people up, or a lot of us are going to join those people in being angry. And I'm ready to go with whichever side we got to go on. But safe travels. Thank you, sir. Hopefully I'll be reporting from down there with a few people. Twins are the misdirection souls. The Acolyte, he will turn. Ooh, I hope something like that is like something
great
crazy.
Great shout. Cool chatting with you. Sorry if I was a little zealous with my comment. Not at all.
No, man. Awesome comments. Join us from now on, man. Join the Facebook group too.
Like me and Jimmy said, this is a safe place. Get as many people here that don't like it and do like it. I'm more than happy to discuss both sides of the argument.
Yeah, just don't question my sexuality because I like the show, and we'll be fine.
Yeah, we're all good on that one. Brilliant. Anything over on Instagram, Jimmy?
Dad Vader and I are just talking about Rebel ScumCon, so I'll message him privately here in a little bit.
Cool.
See what he's up to, and maybe we can work something out.
Cool. So again, thank you very much everyone for joining us. Get on our Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Threads, and YouTube. Explore the Force. Like, share, subscribe. Get on Spotify as well, or any podcasts provider of your choice. If you see Jimmy at Rebel ScumCon, make sure you go over, say hello. Okay,
and get chatting with him.
He's got some giveaways as well. Nice. And yeah, have a great weekend, Jimmy.
You too. I'll talk to you on Sunday.
Indeed. See you later, guys.